When They See Us is a 4-part Netflix original miniseries. It was written and directed by Ava Duvernay. It was also produced and executive produced by Oprah Winfrey and Robert De Niro, and it has an ensemble cast. This tells a true story of 5 young men who were falsely accused of a brutal assault and rape of a jogger in Central Park, New York City, and they would become to be known as the Central Park 5. The story's broken up into 4 episodes, so I'm going to give an overview of each episode, then we'll talk about the series overall. Episode 1 focuses on the young boys, their families, their friends, how they kind of know each other, and also gets into that night. These 5 young men made the mistake of following a bigger group of guys. About 30 or 40 people went into Central Park causing trouble. They harassed cyclists, there were some fights, police were called, and they chased some kids out, they caught some kids. And later that night, the body of a young woman was found. So now everybody in the park is a suspect, and the police are pretty positive that one of these young men had something to do with it. They round up 5 kids, they question them, they coerce them, they keep them for hours, 14, 18 hours, very little contact with their parents, no lawyers. They eventually coach them. They're so convinced that one of, if not all these kids did it, they're coached. And once they get all the kids' stories to kind of jive a little bit, put the videotape on, and they give their confessions after being threatened. Some were knocked around. That's episode 1. Episode 2 gets into the racial aspect of the case, the social economic aspect of it, and the political aspect of it. High profile case. There's been a lot of rapes in New York. They want results. The investigator, the detectives, everyone's hell-bent on charging these kids. We got to get someone responsible for this tragic event. This young woman was so severely beaten and raped. Someone has to go down. These boys did it, and we're going to prove it. That's what episode 2 is about. 4 of them were tried as juveniles, and that's what episode 3 is mostly about. Them in the juvenile system as kids, how that affected the family, the parents, and then them coming out as adults. Now that when they're out, they're re-entering society, they're obviously felons. Now they got to register as sex offenders. They didn't graduate high school, hard to find jobs, the effect it had on their family, extended family. Some people in the community obviously still felt they were guilty. They didn't want them to be around, and it really takes a toll. Corey, this is episode 4 now, Corey was 16. He's convicted as an adult. Now Corey goes to, I believe he starts in Rikers Island, and then he goes to Attica, and he gets transferred around, and he's getting beat up a lot, solitary confinement. But what the one thing Corey does is, every time he's up for parole, they ask him, are you ready to take responsibility for what you've done? Admit that you've done these things. He said, no, I didn't do it. And each time he got denied. So he did the most. He did, I believe it was 12 years. The overall sentences was between 6 and 12. The ones who went to juvie did the 6 or 7 years. They got out. Corey's still in prison. And while he's in prison, someone else confesses to it. And there's a connection, cross of paths between Corey and this guy too. I won't get into. I'll let you watch that and see that unfold. But this other guy confesses. And I want to backtrack a little bit. The night and the days of the rape, and these boys are being arrested and they're being charged. Before that happened, there were 2 investigators. One woman who's played by Felicity Huffman, which might turn some people off because she's in some legal trouble of her own. Anyway, she's hell-bent. I want the case. You know, she's in the sexual crimes unit. They've had so many rapes in New York. She's hell-bent on getting confessions. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. As other investigators pushed it aside. Like, I don't know, maybe we should take this on. My team should take this on. And she was just relegated. Well, fast forward 12 years, the one investigator who was pushed off to the side is handed this information saying, hey, this guy's claiming he raped him and beat that woman in Central Park. So she takes the case, or takes that information, goes to the prison, interviews him, and takes a mouth swab, blood sample. They scrape underneath his fingernails and takes some of his hair. And while that's being processed, she starts to reinvestigate the investigation and starts poking all these holes on. Hey, wait a minute, these kids, I don't think they did this. This guy's DNA comes back, and sure enough, match on everything. So obviously, in the light of this new information, DNA match, the 5 young men, well, the 4 were already out. They're exonerated. Their sentences are vacated, and Corey is released from prison. So that's this whole series in a nutshell. Now, is this any good? Yes, this is very good. Each episode's about an hour, hour and 5 minutes, except for the last one, that's about an hour and a half, so that's more like a full movie. Man, the writing is fantastic, the acting is fantastic. This hits all the right notes. It's going to make you upset, frustrated, angry. It's going to make you cry. It's going to inspire you, especially Corey. Corey's sticking to his guns, not giving in to the parole hearings. And then what these young men did when they came out, you know, how hard it was for them, but they just took it on. They took it somewhat in stride, and they made something of themselves. This is a powerful story. It's an important story, and it's absolutely one of the best things I've seen this year. Best thing I've seen in many years. Yeah, this is good. It's important. Absolutely watch When They See Us, especially if you like true crime. This is tremendous. So thanks for stopping by Color Positive Movies. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. I'd love to have you. A small YouTube channel. Appreciate you watching and taking the time and checking this out. And until next time.